now. Welcome to Babylon Brews News. We're coming at you tonight. I've got Keith. Hi. I've got Gumbi.
Yes, you always have me.
We have a lot to talk about. But first, we're going to talk about Summer Berry Ghosts, the beer that Gumbi brought for us.
Sibling Reverie Brewery.
I thought you were to say something like the beer that God brought down from on high. Then you're like, the beer Gumbi brought to us.
Same thing.
Same thing. This one is a fruited wheat beer exploding with mixed berry flavor with a slight tart and notes of raspberry. It is a 4.5 ABV and 12 IBU. All right. Look, lots ahead. Oh my Lord. Look out. Look out.
Aaron, save it. No beer left behind.
That was almost alcohol abuse.
That was Bush, right? No beer left behind or something like that. I don't know.
Holy cow. That was close. There is a ton of head on this thing.
Oh, excuse me.
It's super light, almost a key lime type flavor when you look through it, especially with as much head as on top. It looks like I'm looking through a key lime pie. I'm looking right through a key lime pie. Look at that. Look at that. Has a very nice berry note to it. Like it smells like a berry.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
It's berrylicious.
Almost like a citrusy berry.
Yeah, I agree. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. A good, refreshing summer beer, but it doesn't.
Definitely.
It's not pretentious. It doesn't try too hard. I feel like summer, like I'm gonna punch you in the face with a lemon. Here's two berries in your eyes. No, this is like it's still a beer.
Middle of the road.
It's nice. Yeah, it has a nice fruity, citrusy punch to it, but it's definitely not overbearing, like whatsoever.
And it's not lacking body.
Mm-mm. It's light. It's definitely in the summer vein.
Mm-hmm.
It's super light. This is definitely a weekend. I just got done mowing my lawn beer.
Good job, Sibling Reverie Brewery.
Not bad. It's tart on the front, a little sweet on the back. The more you let it play on your tongue, it has a little bit of sweetness on the back end.
Yeah, I'm like a little sweet, a little bitter at the same time, which I guess is what keeps it from being too sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely like after you mow your lawn, it's not like I'm at the beach right now having baseballs hit at my head. Like it's not like summer down your throat.
Yeah. So,
good with fish.
Keith, what you been up to?
Oh, what have I been up to? Yeah, I finally finished my Tech Conference World Tour. I got caught in the aftermath of CrowdStrike on my way home from a tech conference in Portland.
Nice.
It was interesting. I was taking a red eye, and of course, being in Cleveland, I have to transfer from like Portland to O'Hare to Cleveland. And what happened here? Okay, so I know my plane's gonna be late because all this stuff had literally. I woke up and it was CrowdStrike on my phone, and then I was leaving that night. So I'm like, oh, it looks like I'm gonna miss my connection in O'Hare, and I'm like, I go up to the counter, I'm like, the flight from Chicago to Cleveland hasn't been delayed yet. Do you think it's gonna be delayed because everything else is gonna be delayed? And she's like, no, the plane's already there. And I'm like, that sucks. So now finally I understand why like people get stranded in airports for days, because at one point they just catch up by just screwing everybody who has to transfer.
You're not wrong.
And so I'm at the desk and she's like, all right, I can get you on 8:30 from Chicago to Cleveland. And I'm like, what? And then she's like 8:30 p.m. So like originally I was supposed to be home before 10 a.m. So now I'm like 14 hours late. I can't even do math. And she's like, put you on standby for 2:30. And then she's like, I'm like sitting there hemming and hawing. Like, I'm like, this sucks. What are my options? And like, as I'm hemming and hawing, she's like, oh, the 8:30 is gone. Now you're talking about 7:30 a.m. Sunday. So you're talking about like 24 hours sitting in O'Hare. And then there's like another guy at the desk, and he's talking to another guy who's rebooking his flight. And that guy's like, okay, I'll rebook you to Akron. And I'm like, Akron's an option? And she's like, is Akron close? And I'm sitting here thinking, like, have you heard of LeBron James?
Or a map?
So I was only 4 hours late, which is apparently a lot better than a lot of my compatriots at the conference did. So I also took a bunch of pictures. I should throw these on our Discord. So reason to go to our Discord, which we should make sure we put a link somewhere.
We'll have a link on our social media pages after this.
Yes,
podcast.
and I will
a lot of good reasons to go.
I will put pictures of all the blue screens. I tried every time I ran into a blue screen in the airport, I tried to take a picture of it. Usually a picture like with my face in it, be like, "Hey, blue screen."
Nice.
So definitely visit the Discord.
I'm used to blue screens. I got Macs at home.
We'll be using more and more of Discord because we've been flagged once or twice for things we talk about.
And you can do whatever the heck you want on Discord.
You
Whoopsie
really
daisy.
Gumby, what you up to?
Oh man, not a whole lot. Summer Uber driving.
We started that.
Oh no, without getting paid, I just feel like an Uber driver with my family. Yeah, I mean a lot of working and still doing music and doing my thing at the church.
Awesome.
So keeping busy.
That's good. That's
Yep.
good.
Staying healthy.
Church needs you.
Got to keep working out. Got to keep running. And keep having these berry health drinks. This is like a berry smoothie,
That's right.
right? That's all it is.
That's all it is.
If it's got fruit in it, it's healthy.
That's right.
Awesome.
We probably got flagged already. Crap.
More likely.
What are you doing, Aaron?
You said health.
Well, I am bringing my Muay Tabata system to the online and app media sites. So you can start licensing pretty soon. I'm working on the platforms right now, and you'll be able to license my Muay Tabata platform if you want it at your martial arts or health and fitness schools. That is coming out very soon. I'm working on the platforms right now. So,
Hey, did somebody I know win big at UFC recently? Just I don't know.
so yeah, my one of my students, Alonzo Turner, he did win on UFC. He won by rear naked choke. It was a phenomenal showing, and it was pretty cool. Not only did he win, but one of my students over in Akron also won inside a mixed martial arts competition. So it's pretty cool. So my system definitely works.
That's pretty huge, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this is coming off of a win to win to win. I have another student who fought over in Iowa. He took home an international belt. And then another one of my students now holds 5 belts. So what we're doing is working. It's phenomenal. So pretty soon anybody will be able to license the programs and use them at their schools.
That's why I always try to never offend you. So I don't want to get my butt kicked here. Hey, we also had our first Palestinian champ
That's right. Yes, we did.
at UFC welterweight.
Same night.
Yep. Congrats there. Big win.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, lots of news in mixed martial arts and Muay Thai.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Oh yeah, good stuff. It's cool when we get to cross play the different parts of our lives that are coming together. Really sweet.
It's an important part of faith.
Yes, it is. So, Gumby, have you been enjoying Evil?
So much so that I may have finished in one night.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
But I won't give any spoilers.
good,
so.
good. Because we're going to start recapping on these news episodes we do, one episode at a time, so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So tonight we're only going to talk about the first episode of the season, and that will be the clip I'm about to throw up right now. So right here, we're going to throw up.
It's going to be a spoiler for Keith.
It is.
I'll
Sorry.
close my eyes.
Sorry,
my
Keith.
ears. I'll live.
All right. And there we go. All right. So here it comes. Sorry, Keith.
Oh,
Hey, Evil fans. What a mix of emotions to kick off a new season. As you all know, we're diving into Evil's fourth and final season. It's bittersweet, but there's a silver lining. Robert and Michelle King are sure to pull out all the stops for this grand finale. They've always kept us on our toes, and that's why we love this show, right? But let's be real. This is tough. Anyone know a demon to bargain with for a renewal? Maybe Netflix? Just kidding. Or not. The season opener doesn't disappoint. And no, I'm not just talking about that hilariously steamy knife scene between Kristen and Andy in the kitchen. Although, wow, that was something.
wow.
But let's start where the episode does. Kristen learning that Leland has hijacked her eggs, fertilized them with his sperm, and is planning to raise the Antichrist, who is due in 38 days. Kristen, in her usual badass fashion,
missed a lot.
laughs it off. I can't think of any greater torture than to give you a baby, she tells Leland. Oh, the satisfaction of seeing her laugh in his face. After that unforgettable baby shower exit, Kristen gets serious. Cheryl, who knew about Leland's plan, is now banned from the Bouchard house and cut off from her granddaughters. Cheryl's motives remain a mystery. Does she even have an end game, or is she just reveling in her new possessed life? Kristen's strategy is clear. In her world, science trumps religion from now on. No more demons or supernatural chaos, just a return to normalcy with hot kitchen sex and skipping Sunday Mass. She brings this mindset to work as well.
Yeah.
The team is called to St. Joseph's for a new case with Father Ignatius. Our sweet, beloved Ignatius, filling in temporarily, gives them a mission. Investigate the Garrow Research Facility, where protesters claim a particle accelerator might open the gates of hell. At the facility, things get shady fast. The scientists, led by physicist Ethan, are cagey about the whereabouts of a former employee featured in a viral blood sacrifice video. When David heads back to his scooter, a custodian named Mateo slips him a note saying, "They're lying," leading to a secret meeting. Mateo reveals they discovered a massive sinkhole while building the accelerator, covered it with cement, but something's down there. He even shows David a video of smoke filling the loop and a creature emerging. Kristen, now the ultimate skeptic, tasks Ben with debunking it. He quickly shows how such videos can be faked, but her dismissive joy is infectious. No monster coming out of hell, she declares, though her certainty is soon tested. Father LaRusso, the new Vatican rep, tells them the real concern isn't hell's gates, but quantum black holes potentially swallowing the Earth. This adds a whole new level of danger. While Ben reassures them that the odds are slim, LaRusso isn't satisfied with nearly impossible. They need absolute certainty, which means another visit to the lab. Their next visit turns chaotic when the accelerator inexplicably powers up. Ben takes an ion beam directly to the face. Though he gets a clean bill of health from several doctors, the incident isn't without its creepy aftermath. Ben experiences wild visions of a giant bug-like demon, which he frustratingly keeps to himself. David, too, is haunted by a supernatural encounter at the sinkhole. He sees a monstrous creature with the head of the woman from the viral video. Instead of sharing with Kristen and Ben, he confides only in Sister Andrea, revealing a prophecy about the end of the world in 38 days. Back at the lab, Mateo seems to vanish into the sinkhole, leaving blood and scratch marks that suggest a struggle. The team's findings are inconclusive, but LaRusso is thinking about shutting down the facility before it officially opens in 38 days. Meanwhile, the drama at the Bouchard house intensifies. Kristen's husband, Andy, triggered by Leland's manipulations, reverts to a catatonic state. Cheryl and Leland's brainwashing attempts push Andy into confronting David with accusations of infidelity. Kristen, caught between her husband and her feelings for David, lashes out, making it clear that Andy needs to get his act together or leave. As if the supernatural threats weren't enough, these personal conflicts add another layer of tension. Kristen's tough exterior cracks as she deals with the stress of impending doom and her crumbling marriage. The countdown to the Antichrist's birth is ticking, and things are set to get even more chaotic. With all these elements in play, the 4th season of Evil is shaping up to be a thrilling and intense ride. We're in for wild revelations, shocking twists, and emotional confrontations. Buckle up because the journey to the end is just beginning.
That was a lot in the first episode.
That was a lot. Yeah.
That was like 18 episodes, as far as I know.
And for anybody who's looking for that was from the YouTube channel Spoiler Explained. So if anyone's interested in watching it, it was really interesting to watch the contrast happening between the two, to see that, you know, her husband is still being played by the mind control tactics of Leland,
Mm-hmm.
which comes into play later, which we'll talk about later. And what starts happening with the three of them, and how all three of them are having things happen they can't explain. It's pretty interesting to watch the contrast between them.
It is. It was hysterical that Leland with the baby and that whole thing happened. I can't remember if they got all into that in the first episode, but although I was kind of upset that the person who died, Mateo,
Yeah.
the only Hispanic, was also the janitor. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
I know. The janitor always dies, and it's always the butler. So, but yeah, I'm definitely enjoying Evil. It's a very fun series. It hits a lot of fun points as you go through all the seasons. Kristen has still never explained that she cheated on her husband in season 2 because of her possession.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting that that's still never come up.
I don't think she's gonna bring that up.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Kind of evil.
Yeah.
Just saying, kind of evil. Keith, did you have something for us tonight? Because we have a lot of things to cover tonight.
So since we had our last news episode, which was like right after the debates that went so poorly for Mr. Biden, there's been like every news thing in the world. And it's like, how do you even cover that?
Wait,
True.
You thought that Biden did poorly?
We got that.
Oh, he was great. I'm a Biden lifer, man. He's we beat Medicare. So how do we even start it? So what I thought back when what's the name of the Speaker of the House? Johnson.
Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson. Remember back when we had the Mike Johnson episode, we did a little card game where we had some various topics out, and we did a little round table. You got to choose your topics. So we kind of
famously
created a different flow. So I have 12 cards on the table, all related to current or recent news events. And we're going to go around. You get to pick which one you want to pick. But when you pick it, you are going to get a very random, creative prompt, possibly offensive prompt from me, and you have to answer it. And I will say, though, you do get one handoff. You can block one and give it to somebody else who you're choosing. You get one.
Okay.
So use it wisely. So let me introduce the topics tonight.
Let's do it.
All right. So we have, and all of them are a little bit cryptic. So you maybe kind of know what you're getting, but you don't quite know what you're getting. We have no Joe, no go. In the year 2525, if man is still alive. Bishop Barron yells at cloud. Quick, find a white guy. Sectional relations. Blue dabba dee dabba da. Ears. Not my job. The name of Doug Emhoff's wife. Spending the last minute of your 15 minutes of fame in Cleveland. C:/users/hunters laptop/desktop/resignation letter.doc. And women and their cats.
All right.
So, The question is who wants to go first?
Aaron does. He told me already.
All right, I'll go first.
All right, what you picking?
Let's go no Joe.
No Joe, no go.
No Joe, no
Okay,
go, yeah.
let me find my question. All right. Oh, this is the perfect question for you. I'm so glad you picked this one. All right. So, we're getting a little ahead of the different leads that are all coming together, but
All right.
ever since Vice President Kamala Harris has been announced as a presumptive nominee, Republicans have been scrambling a little bit, and former President Trump has insinuated that he might not attend the second debate.
What?
So, my question for you, and this is the only time I'm going to talk about RFK Jr. today, I promise. All right, suppose Trump does not attend the debate and they decide that it's going to be RFK Jr. versus Kamala Harris. And I want you to tell me what RFK's knockout punch that is going to convert at least half of Kamala's voters. It's going to propel him to a plurality, to double Ross Perot numbers and take the presidency. What is his knockout punch in that debate? And you cannot mention any of the terms that will get us banned on YouTube.
All right. I really think that where he needs to go and where the other two absolutely refuse to talk about. No, never mind. I'm going to the second one, so we don't get banned on YouTube. He tackles what nobody talks about, and that's the health of our country, because everybody wants to talk about the symptoms of our country. All right. So you have Trump, you have Biden, pretty soon you'll have Kamala. And they talk about the problems of the country. RFK Jr. is the only one actually talking about the health of the country and how to bring how to, in a healthy way, institutionalize health programs and fitness programs for the country to get them off of big pharma and get them into being healthy again. He's bringing up the issues of our country and how a lot of these medications are causing the issues, not resolving these issues. And guess how you fix it? You don't fix it by putting people on more chemicals. You fix it by helping people, again, in a healthy institutional way, create healthy products to eat, healthy fitness programs to perform, a healthy way to live your life holistically, rather than sitting on your couch and taking drugs. That gets to a root of a lot of problems. Okay, go ahead.
I was trying to think, because wasn't he in the news somewhere recently about some like weird health program he wanted to do?
Mm-mm.
Oh man.
So the health programs he wants to roll out are actually closer to what was being rolled out during the time of his uncle, JFK. And during that time period, JFK actually rolled out a health and fitness program, and there was virtually no obesity in this country whatsoever. It's on film how well the program was working and how fit the country was at the time. The preceding administrations have depreciated those programs to a point where we are one of the number one countries in the world for obesity and reliance on pharmacology.
Yeah. For not being a quote unquote third world country, we have a lot of sick children.
Yes. And that is where we hit and get people to turn their lives around. It's not through a lot of what Trump and Biden, they're paid off. These people are seriously paid off. These administrations are paid off. They're working with the biggest conglomerate, without naming them. They're working with the biggest conglomerates out there.
Watch it, Aaron. Watch it.
To line the pockets of the shareholders rather than creating a healthier country.
Yeah, no, I agree. Rather than getting paid by them, he litigates them
So
for a living.
yes, I firmly resolved to back RFK Jr. for no other reason than to buck the system against conglomerates and create a healthier, fitter country. So go ahead.
It's killing me because I can't find that thing. It was literally in the news last week, and it was something where he like wanted to like end some health program and send people to like communes or camps or something like
Guess
that.
you got to move on then. I guess you got to move on.
See, I was gonna go with that. He was gonna pull out something about the brainworm, and that was just gonna end the debate right there.
Everyone talks about that. So here's why this is a non
gotta go.
sequitur. This is a non sequitur. So everyone wants to divert to that because it's really bad press. Number one, it was over 15 years ago. Okay, a decade and a half ago. Two, the reason why he brought it up was actually to help educate the public because it's actually a huge problem across our country. A lot of people have these parasites and don't know they have these parasites. So by bringing it up, he's helping people say, hey, get checked out. Find out if you have these parasites. I did. You may as well. You better get checked out. So he's trying to help educate the public on what might be affecting their health. And instead, all the asshat CNN and Foxes out there want to make fun of it instead of helping educate the public on it.
I found it. All right, respond. This is the last time I'll talk about him. I promise.
This is a rebuttal.
All right. I want you to respond to this tag from the headline about the thing that I was trying to find from futurism.com. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., independent challenger for president and anti-vaccine accident. I'll ignore that part. Has a cockamamie solution for drug addicts and people who use medication for depression or ADHD. Strip people of their tech gadgets and send them to government-funded wellness farms to grow organic food.
I have no problem with people learning how to organically farm.
Doesn't that sound like a labor camp?
I'd freaking sign up for that.
I would sign up.
It actually
for
does.
that.
I'll be honest. It actually sounds kind of
So-
nice.
It's okay. Go to prison.
You got me.
Or learn how to farm.
You caught me.
All right, I'm voting for RFK Jr. He's
I-
gonna pay for me to learn how to farm.
I actually love that idea. you just made me want to vote for him more.
I actually have an appointment to get ADHD medication like next month, and you're telling me I could go learn farming instead?
I would be a repeat offender.
This is actually
Right?
honestly sounded pretty good. Okay.
Save that link. We'll include it in the links in the WhatsApp.
All right.
Great.
You know what the actual URL title says? It says RFK-Jr-Adderall-Labor-Camps.
I would sign up for this.
Yeah. Same here.
You just made me love him more.
Like, family, guess where we're going for vacation this year, kids?
Adderall Labor Camp.
Daddy's got a big RV.
Oh my gosh.
You did what I didn't think you would do. I like him more.
Now, let me comment his initial card question and your response, though, to it. Just really quick. I agree with everything you said. And you know, as far as the crazy idea through that, you know, you just read, Keith, I'm on board. However, do I think that's enough to deliver the knockout punch? I don't think so.
Gotcha.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I really don't. And I think that's because of other reasons I really won't go into, but I just don't think he's enough of an establishment guy either way.
Gotcha.
It's a moonshot.
I see where you're going with that, and I understand where you're going with that.
Yeah.
And I am really hoping that our public is waking up.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
I'm
I just, at
cautiously
this point right now, I think Kamala would still.
Yeah. And I am publicly saying I fully plan and intend on voting for RFK Jr. because I want to have a fitter, healthier country.
Yeah.
I don't want the reliance of the two big parties that just do nothing but work with conglomerates and whatever lines their pockets. I'm tired of it. I'm done with it. I fully plan on voting for RFK for no other reason. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Gumby, your turn.
Sorry. Yes. So go ahead and pick.
Is it a blindfold kind of thing?
No, whatever one you want.
I'm not going to look. I'm just going to grab. No looking.
No, pick one that's
Yeah.
most intriguing
Wait.
to you.
That's what Trump did.
That's true. Oh God.
Crap, we're banned.
What strikes your fancy? What calls out to you?
Read them to me again.
Bishop Barron yells at cloud in the year 2020, 25, sectional relations. Quick, find a white guy.
Let's go
Years.
quick. Find a white guy.
Yes.
That
All
sounds
right.
fun.
Yes. And I will say this one, I would say queue up some of your links because now we're talking about VPs and Kamala and all those sorts of things.
All right.
But first, we will go to our prompt.
Okay.
Gumbi has chosen quick, find a white guy. And we are talking about presumptive nominee Kamala Harris's VP options.
Mm.
And what is my question? Okay. Let's see. This it's actually kind of like a serious question, but not really. You can be as serious here as not serious one.
Okay.
All right. What does Kamala's VP pick need to do to peel off enough conservative voters to stop the MAGA revolution?
Oh gosh, man.
See, my pick for this was that they need to go on TV and eat a gun.
Well, hold on. Let's back that up. Does it have to be a particular caliber?
Bump stock and all.
All right, say the question one more time. How many she could take away Trump's base?
Whoever the VP pick is, what does Kamala's VP pick need to do to peel off enough conservative voters to stop the MAGA revolution? Basically, what does it take to make in the persona of this one other person on the ticket need to like take Kamala kind of hard right?
Ooh, good question.
I just don't. That's a great question. I'm not sure that there is anything that could, in my opinion, but
dream big.
Oh gosh. Well, it's kind of contentious. I don't want to get.
We're gonna get banned again.
Yeah. but I'll try to stay middle of the road. Show my hand, so to speak. I think there's this perception of her, where in her relationship to Israel, because Bibi just came and spoke to the House and Congress, right? That she is not supportive as at least Trump was, or even as supportive as Biden was, which is completely ridiculous in my opinion, because I think she completely supports Israel. Anyways, I think she would have to find someone, because she came out and outright criticized things that are going on there and his leadership, Bibi's over there, and just came out and asked for a ceasefire, which was, we've been waiting for someone at her level to really do that. And she's the first person I know that's done that, really. I think she's going to have to find someone harder to the right as her VP, that would, like a Pence, but in the Democratic base, that would balance that out. And they would say, you know what? Even if, we got Kamala there, we still have a Pence-like person who would reel her in. We need that. We need that white guy.
Right? I like this. This is a deep cut. So like,
that's a deep cut.
You could have Kamala on one side being like, we need to cease fire, and then you could have whoever the VP is, maybe it could be Pence, who knows, being like, Jerusalem should be the capital.
But as a white guy, you have to call us Blanquito.
Or I should say Jerusalem should be the where the
embassy.
The embassy is. Sorry, yeah.
Yep.
Too much beer.
That's interesting.
Oh,
yeah. I think it's kind of a Trojan horse, though, because again, that's based on the premise that she isn't supportive for them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not so.
But that's like, because it is a lot of like, without going too much into the buzzwords that get us in trouble, like both parties kind of speak out of both sides of their mouths in like different ways on that.
No.
And if you literally just lean into the double speak, like someone's going to hear what they want to hear. Basically, everybody hears what they want to hear on the issue.
Very true.
And so that was like a really like impressive answer. Like that was like that's got my wheels turning. Like I'm ready to like stop the game and go like wonk mode and like
Yeah.
really like write, a political memoir or something weird like that.
Oh, and I don't want to get into it too much based on what the other cards may hold already, but I think because some of the base has already shifted, and there's overlapping already because of the attempted assassination.
We will get to that.
So I won't get too much. I think what I'm saying is I think both sides, if you're playing the dual thing, is already kind of primed for kind of crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimate MAGA liberal crossover. Woke MAGA crossover.
We need that white guy.
So I thought you might have a link, Aaron, about Kamala's VP pick.
I do have a link about Kamala. Hold on, I will.
This is a perfect time to go right into Kamala anyway. We've now done double Kamala cards. I mean, a lot of them are about Kamala. Come on,
Here,
right? Kamala. That's another card too. Pronunciation.
I don't know,
We'll get there.
Keith. How do you pronounce it?
Don't spoil that one. We'll get there.
You guys remember back in the 80s in the WWF, Kamala was a wrestler?
That's right.
Really?
A big African wrestler.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Here we go. Ready? It's a short clip. It's 1 minute.
Okay.
There you go.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi. You're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
Oh.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, Brock, this means so much to me. I'm looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was so adorable. Oh my God.
I'm so shocked that you call and endorsed me. I'm really surprised.
And you did it on video.
And
you still made me cry. Dang it.
Apparently it's really you because my AI indicators say it's not AI that called me.
Did anybody expect less?
Oh, like from that video or just like in general?
Just in general.
I mean, I fully once the writing, I mean, I guess there's all sorts of things about expecting. Like, so last time we were here, Biden was digging in. He was like, I'm going to run for president no matter how bad I lose. And there was like a whole week even up to that where like a bunch of actually it was really funny. So I follow on Twitter like a number of people who are like they were the Biden lifers. Like they were like, Biden is the guy. Don't say anything else. Anybody who says anything else is just trying to sow discord. They're just trying to lose the election. In the moment that Biden announces his resignation and endorses Kamala Harris in the same message, they're all like, Kamala is a girl. Kamala's a girl. Like they immediately switch over. It was always Kamala. So like it was pretty inevitable that Biden would stay the course until he wouldn't. But at the same time, we all kind of in that last week or two, like there was the pause with the assassination where we all kind of like forgot about it for like 36 hours, which is kind of remarkable that our attention span was that low for a presidential candidate assassination attempt, which is a big freaking deal.
Yeah.
And then like it kind of paused for a few days, but at the same time, everybody behind the scenes, you would always hear like Nancy Pelosi's doing this. Chuck Schumer's doing that. All these governors are doing crazy stuff or whatever. You know, people are trying to talk to Jill or whatever. And then one day it happened. And I mean, in terms of who, like you could argue all day about there should be this like more open convention or whatever, but the easiest way to make a pretty unprecedented switch like this was to just have Kamala do it because she was already in the ticket. She technically was already voted for. There's a lot of comments, you know, from right wing that are like, you know, like this is undemocratic. Like your constituents didn't vote for Kamala, but they actually did because that's what a running mate is. So it was once it happened, it was pretty obvious that it was going to be her, even if she does have some limitations. And at the same time, for any limitations she does have as a candidate, she just raised like $200 freaking million and wrapped up like the required number of I think she's got the majority of the delegates, like actual delegates pledged, like maybe even like 75% or more. Like she had them wrapped up in less than a week, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
Gotta give you that. Gotta give you that. What's next on the board?
Well, so because we're here though, we should talk for a minute about VP candidates.
Okay.
Because that was the VP candidate one. I don't know if I have another one. So I think the reason why the card is called quick find a white guy is because everybody's like, there has to be a white guy on the ticket. Like we have a black woman, we have to have a white guy.
Hillary Clinton's the obvious choice.
Oh, ding, ding. So this maybe gets into a few other cards on the board, but I actually question. So I was sitting here because we were talking about like who, if Kamala or somebody else was the candidate, who the VP pick was, and I think at that point I said I had a soft spot for J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois. Just I thought he was like a pretty good spokesman for like liberal causes, but also had like a mainstream streak to him. So I like thought he would do well on stage. He also had like executive branch experience. Although maybe at that point I was actually talking about him as a candidate, like the actual candidate, if they were pick a different candidate. I can't really remember.
Okay.
But I keep seeing President Trump, Vice President nominee JD Vance, all these people like kind of lean into like we're going to just like attack women.
I have a feeling that you're going to get more to that later.
I might. I guess I'm just going to say real quick that like I feel like you could just go like pure estrogen on the ticket, have two women, and then just let the right wing like fall down attacking women and just looking bad. But I want to throw out one other angle on this. I want your guys' thoughts.
Okay.
I think after the first debate, everybody's going to pay a lot more attention to debates.
I would agree with that. Because this next one is obviously going to have a lot of eyes on it.
Yes.
Not just nationally, internationally. This next debate is going to have so many eyes on it because the first one was like sitting down in a VFW watching two guys talk about golf.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was arguably the worst debate I've ever seen ever on anything.
Yeah. I've had better conversations at bars for sure.
Yeah. I've seen better debates on grass for golf courses.
Yeah.
Than that debate was.
Yeah, that was a shit show.
It was terrible. Just terrible.
So because of this increased attention, I think for a VP candidate, because presumably we're going to have a VP debate, unless they cancel, you could lean all the way into who would be a good debater. And that is a strong argument for Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah.
Who is like probably by far the best spokesperson thus far in the Biden administration. He's the guy, if you're looking for a good clip of somebody from the administration on TV, you go grab Buttigieg on CNN.
You just brought up something. So I was about to bring him up because arguably on the left, he is my favorite person in debates. The dude is spot on every time he talks. I mean, I have yet to see anybody on the left that does better than Pete Buttigieg because his analytics, he's there. I mean, every single time he nails it every single time. Yeah. And it's I'm really looking for the person on the right that would be as good at this as Pete Buttigieg because I don't think he has a match on the right now as far as the power of his just negotiating debates. It's
a great question. I can't think of who it would be.
Because he, as far as I can see, he is unmatched because of his simple sticking to analytics and sticking to facts. He puts almost zero effort into his emotional status on things. And he is all about, no, I'm sorry, this is actually what it was. Here's the stats. And he is so good at it. And so much of the right, this is where I kind of criticize the right a little bit, is based on emotion. We need somebody who's more analytical on the right, so that way there's a contrast to that. So that way you can meet somewhere in the middle. And it's hard to meet in the middle when you don't have the guy on the right that can match the guy on the left. You need that to go back and forth. But I don't know of anybody on the right now who's as good analytically as Pete Buttigieg on the left.
Yeah, who's a numbers guy on the right anymore?
I don't know.
It's a lot of emotional arguments.
Yeah, exactly.
What's
mostly
what's interesting about Buttigieg too is like while he is very analytical, he can drop down to the emotional level in a way that's deeply resonant. So there was an example, I forget which comment he was responding to, but it was something related to VP candidate Vance, what he had said. And he brought up the story about him and Chasen's like adoption journey.
Yeah.
And like his one quote at the end of that was like, well, there's no way Vance could have known that, but that's why you don't talk about other people's children.
Oh, ouch.
He just daggers straight to the heart.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
So for me, the only question then about Buttigieg is he pro-Israel enough? That's all I need. That's all I need to know, and then I'll vote for him.
Jeez. I don't mean to laugh so much, but it just he went right back there. All right, we should drop another card on here. So it's
before we do that.
Go ahead.
Before we do that.
Oh yes, please. We need more.
We have to correct the next one because we're running dry.
Yes, we are.
So we are about to break out, and this is the second drink of the night. Arizona hard iced tea. Now, I have a few comments on this, but first, we're going to open with the peach iced tea.
We have more than one iced tea, don't we?
We do.
I'm so happy about that.
We may touch on more than one of these. We're going to open with the peach iced tea. Now, I am a huge fan of Arizona iced tea. It's my number one iced tea that I've drank my entire, well, not my entire life, but most of my life.
Confession time.
Because it's consistently good. What I didn't know is that the owner was so freaking awesome. I saw an interview with him recently talking about how he does not want to increase the price of the tea ever because he loves the fact that he doesn't have to. They have zero debt, and the fans love the fact that they have legitimately good iced tea made with legitimate ingredients, and so he doesn't see the reason to price gouge people.
What? Really? What's the guy's name?
I forget his name.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. Him for president.
Right.
I don't care what party he's in.
Yeah. And so he went through and talked about how he will not increase the price as long as he can because he loves the fact that he loves his customers and they are loyal to him. And so he never sees a reason to raise the price. And so since I think it was 96, he has never increased the price of Arizona
Don Voltaggio? I get his name right.
I believe that's it.
And of course, we're talking about the iconic Arizona tall 99-cent can.
Yes.
99-cent printed right into that can.
Yes.
Like it's never going to leave.
It's been away since like 96. And he plans on never increasing the price as long as he's alive because he has a loyal group. He's like, I have more than enough money. Why would I increase the price?
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
That's the one fiscal policy that our corporate America has been missing for I don't know how long.
I'm telling you.
I'd get behind a man like that.
So here is a multimillionaire that is loyal to his fan base and sees no reason to increase the price for that reason.
Don Voltaggio for VP.
That also tells me that he cares about his employees. I mean, that tells you so much.
Absolutely. So for more than one reason, look forward to trying these tonight.
Mm-hmm. Too smart to be a politician. Going hard.
All right. And this is the peach hard iced tea.
Go hard or go home.
Ooh.
Zero head on it, obviously, because it's a tea. And you can see right there, look, you see the tannins inside the tea. It's kind of nice and thick.
It is literally like an Arizona peach
my
iced tea
Lord,
with alcohol in it. It's great.
Perfect iced tea head on it.
It's splendid.
The nose.
Oh,
right out of the can.
Oh, wow. That is fantastic. It's Arizona iced tea. I already love this.
I'm thinking back to like when we would have like Arizona iced tea like after like sports practice in high school, and how if this was swapped in, I would have been an alcoholic as a 16-year-old.
What the hell happened to Keith? He used to run so good.
Why is he zigzagging? This is these are 12-ounce cans, and it is 5% ABV. But obviously, because it's not a beer, there's no IBU. But man, this is just so freaking smooth.
That's dangerous, actually.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And Arizona, I love you even more.
Dawn 2025. Dawn 2025.
That is excellent. I can't wait to have another.
We will definitely have another. Oh man, that is just remarkable. And again, I've been drinking Arizona since they came out. They've always been a favorite of mine. Love them to death. I have huge respect for the owner, especially since again, he's not price gouging his customers. He's like, why would I increase the price? He's like, I have no debt. I can pay all my bills. He's like, why would I increase the price?
That is the American dream,
right?
Not being a Bezos. I mean, or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Are we done with the VP picks?
Yes, I think we are.
All right. What do we got?
So it's my turn, since I have the questions on hand, to not compromise the results. I would like someone to pick a card for me. So,
well, like a certain pop artist once said, "Let's do it, do it, do it."
All right. How about Aaron? How about you pick my card?
What was the options again?
Right here. We got Bishop Barron yells at Cloud in the year 2024.
Bishop Barron.
Oh my, that's the one I don't know about. But you have a link for it, which is great.
I do.
All right. So actually, Bishop Barron yells at Cloud is referring to the controversy with the Paris Olympics opening ceremony, where there was a presentation that everybody at least thought was the Last Supper, but it was also, scantily clad people, some drag queens. I'm not quite sure the exact crowd, but it was considered sacrilegious to the point that even Bishop Barron, made a video right away. We actually, I'm still trying to decide if it's like a tongue-in-cheek thing, or if it is true, or if it's half true. But there's been something coming out there that this is actually like the Feast of the Gods. It wasn't meant to be the Last Supper at all, but it was actually supposed to be like the person in front who was the most flamboyant was actually supposed to be like Dionysus. Like it was supposed to be a Greek mythology reference.
Yeah,
likely story.
Like a worship him.
I mean, it is true that it was kind of laid out like the Last Supper. But my question that I posted on here for
almost identically
days, quite possibly. So my question for whoever picked this card was, assuming it was the Last Supper, or even if it wasn't, the question was, which attendee of the Last Supper was most likely to be a closeted drag queen?
In the real Last Supper.
So of course, I'm supposed to answer the question though. But anybody can answer it if they want.
Let's think about that, and we'll come back to it after the clip.
I've heard conspiracy theories already prior to way before this, years ago, about this.
Yeah, we mean Dan Brown.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, I don't know. You
All
talking
right.
about the Da Vinci Code? No,
Yep.
No. I think this just came from random atheists that wanted to,
All right. So here's the
throw
clip
it under
right
the
here.
table.
Here we go.
Are we playing the clip?
Yep.
Sweet.
Come on. You can do it. I swear again. There you go.
This is Bishop Barron. Just a few days ago, I was in Indianapolis for the marvelous celebration of the Eucharistic Congress. 50,000 Catholics coming together to worship the Lord and celebrate the real presence of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. So I come from that experience, and I come home, and I love the Olympics. So I turn on the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. What do I see now? And it's in Paris, France, a city I love. I spent 3 years as a doctoral student there. What do I see but this gross mockery of the Last Supper? And I won't describe it any further. Just go online. It's gone viral. You can see it. But this France felt evidently, as it's trying to put its best cultural foot forward, the right thing to do is to mock this very central moment in Christianity where Jesus, at his Last Supper, gives his body and blood in anticipation of the cross. And so it's presented, though, as this gross, sort of flippant mockery. France, which used to be called the eldest daughter of the church, Paris, that gave us Thomas Aquinas taught there, and Vincent de Paul was there, King Louis IX, St. Louis, France that sent Catholic missionaries all over the world. France, whose culture, and I mean the honoring of the individual and of human rights and of freedom, is grounded very much in Christianity, felt the right thing to do was to mock the Christian faith. You know, a question I would pose, we all know the answer to it. Would they ever have dared mock Islam in a similar way? Would they ever have dreamed of mocking in this gross, public way, a scene from the Quran? As I say, we all know the answer to that. I think, folks, what's interesting here is this deeply secularist postmodern society knows who its enemy is. They're naming it, and we should believe them. They're telling us who they are. We should believe them. But furthermore, we Christians, we Catholics should not be sheepish. We should resist. We should make our voices heard.
All right.
Okay, so only non-Catholic or positive Catholic, as I've been called. Who is he, and what standing does he have? Is he considered
He's a clown.
right or left? I don't really know.
It's Bishop Aaron.
Okay.
And Bishop Aaron is the bishop over Minnesota.
Okay.
Part of Minnesota.
Part of Minnesota. Yeah.
Rochester, Winona, or something like
Something
that.
like that,
It's
yeah.
not Minneapolis.
Yeah, something like that. And that's where he sits. So he does have a seat of authority.
Mhm.
And he is looked at fondly for his virtual outreaches as well.
Okay.
He runs the Word on Fire Institute, all that stuff. So he does have a voice. I don't hate him. I do actually enjoy a lot of his talks. Actually, his Catholicism series is phenomenal. If you get a chance to watch that, it's like 10 episodes long. It's a very good series that goes over the history, touches on theology, touches on a lot of different parts of Catholicism in a very genuine, historical, almost a documentary type of way. Very well done series. And I don't think any Catholic would ever disagree with that. It was a very well touched on series. There are some things that rub people wrong when it comes to Bishop Aaron, and a lot of times it's just the way he approaches subjects. But I personally love the fact that he engages in deeper philosophic constructs.
Okay.
And this is where I appreciate him, because he'll touch on philosophic ideas and dive into the ideas of why different parts of theology are the way they are. Whereas most people are just simply hammer away on, well, this is this because of politics, and this is this because of this, and this is this. He does dive deeper into the philosophic constructs of why things are the way they are, instead of just simply saying, this is thus.
Okay.
Right? So I do appreciate the constructs that he lines out.
Okay. I just wanted some background before Keith, because I don't know the guy really at all. So is he considered like
Keith doesn't like him.
traditional? Is he? Because I know
he's traditional. He's definitely traditional.
Okay.
But here's where this is why most people don't like him. He sits on the in-between. There are a lot of modernist Catholics.
Okay.
And then there's the rad trads, and he sits in between the two.
That's what I was going to ask, because I knew you guys had that divide going on.
Yeah.
I didn't know where he sat in that.
So he is not a modernist Catholic.
Okay.
But he's also not a trad. So he sits a little in between those two, which is why both sides don't like him.
Okay.
But he has spent several of the more recent years. He used to be very middle of the road, both in terms of like traditionalism and liberalism, but also like staying out of politics. But he's been courting a lot of far right voices, often doing interviews elevating like some of the far right provocateurs. and he's kind of taken his reputation as someone with an open mind and used that to promote ideas of like the Ben Shapiro's to Chris Rufo's, these folks who are actually basically fomenting hate.
If you actually watch his interview that he does with Ben Shapiro, it's actually a really good interview.
I can't stand Ben.
and he politely butts heads back and forth with them, and it's a really good interview. In fact, one of my close friends, I'll leave nameless because I don't know if he wants me to bring his name up or not. He is actually a left-wing guy. He's actually very socialist, and he loved the Ben Shapiro and Bishop Barron interview, and that's coming from one of my friends who's actually very left-wing, and he loved the interview. And he actually doesn't like it. He actually doesn't like Bishop Barron, but he loved that interview, and he thought that Bishop Barron was brilliant in the interview.
Fair enough. So what does the card mean then, Keith? Bishop Barron yell at cloud.
Well, so it's everybody. My opinion is it's everybody's yelling at the cloud. They're like, it's the whole outrage over the Olympic display it's more performative Christian outrage. Like different cultures are going to interpret things differently. French people gonna do French stuff, and the best thing we could do for a Christian witness would actually be to just chill the heck out.
Are you referring to armpits? Because that's just a stigma. That's not a thing. That's not nice. That's not nice. That's not nice, Keith. That's not nice.
So what's your response to Bishop Barron in regards to the Olympics then? Do you feel like what's your view on it?
I don't know if I have like a substantive response other than like, could you chill the heck out, dude? Like, do we have to be outraged about everything? Like, can't we just be like we have to? And I haven't actually done the research as much on the Olympics part. So I don't have like a super substantive, like, well, actually it's referring to this painting and that. I'm cribbing off other people when I talk about that. But I think of like all the other things we've done this about, like the one that's crystallized in my mind, because I can only dive into these cultural phenomenons where we get all mad about them every once in a while. And the one that has come to my mind for some reason is it was Shakira and Jennifer Lopez in the Super Bowl. And everybody got mad about them, shaking their butts and doing their dances. And I'm like, dude, this is like a display of like athletic artistic prowess. And even if like it's not what we would do, can we just sit there and be like,
and admire God's creation?
That too.
I'm outraged. That's why I'm recording this. Look at that. I'm gonna have to rewind it 4 times.
Can we just be like, you know what? It's not my thing, but I salute the work you put into that. You worked hard on it.
I'll be honest. I did watch that performance afterwards. As we all did. Actually, to be honest, after every one of them, so God's honest truth, I don't usually watch the Super Bowl. I'll catch the highlights afterwards to find out what the best parts were, right? And then I will pull up a separate segment on the commercials, and then I'll pull up whatever the show was, okay? Because I just want to see the highlights. I don't want to sit through 4 hours. I actually loved Shakira's part. I honestly wasn't a huge fan of J-Lo's part.
Yet you're not even American.
I won't disagree with Shakira outperforming J-Lo. That's not.
I know. Shakira was awesome.
Those hips don't lie.
Yeah. So, but and her performance with like Bad Bunny, it was just awesome. It was so well done. And J-Lo was good. It was good, but I thought she relied too much on. Hold on.
I don't even have to say it.
I thought she relied too much on certain things without getting explicit.
Bipartisan support.
Whereas you could actually see more culture. Man. You could see more culture behind what Shakira did.
Oh yeah, that's how you say it. Okay.
No, seriously. You could actually see everything from the supporting dancers to the guest appearance. There was a little more culture behind Shakira's segment than there was behind J-Lo's segment.
Very few people have the power to unite bipartisan.
Just
I
saying.
yeah, my trad side would definitely come out, honestly, in regards to that. And it's like, all right, well, because what did it represent? I mean, it was an athletic. Yes, it was athletic. I probably couldn't even do it, right? I can't hang from the pole. And again, I don't plan on doing that.
No.
And I wouldn't,
And you wouldn't look right doing it either.
nor would want my daughters, for me, doing that. So
I totally agree.
So that's where
And-
the traditional side, and there are people like,
And being a father of daughters,
right.
I don't ever want to see my daughters doing that because it kind of sends the wrong message. It's here's the thing. We're supposed to be, it's 2024,
Yeah.
right? And we're supposed to be evolved past the point of trying to please people's sexual appetites, right? We're not objectifying women in 2024, but aren't you fracking objectifying women when you stick them up on a pole?
And if you don't agree, just watch one episode of The Sopranos.
Right.
Bada bing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like one of those things where we're walking ourselves back. We're like, oh no, we're empowering women. Really? No, you're not. You're looking at her booty, right? It's like you're not empowering the woman. You're simply putting a different name to objectifying somebody on a pole.
I do kind of feel that way. I feel like it's a false sense of progressiveness, really.
We're going backwards again. It honestly, and this is going to be very controversial. This is where I am actually going to bring up the fact that I think that there are parts of Islamic culture that are more forward than us as a Western culture.
Auto ban.
I honestly think that there are parts of Islamic culture that are more forward thinking than we are.
Yeah.
Because both men and women are a little more covered up in Islamic culture than in Western culture.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're not objectifying men or women in that. You, in fact, you are showing their brains, you're showing their culture, you're showing their accomplishments.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, there's parts of Islamic culture that are doing a better job at our progress than we are in Western culture.
I'm going to ding the bell because this is another podcast topic alert, but I do feel like the idea that we see this, like, okay, people do this thing, or they do this thing with their body or whatever, and we talk about like the lust aspect of or whatever. It's kind of like this self-fulfilling prophecy where, coming from like purity culture and like the stuff that's gone along with that, where we tell like men that you're lusting if you watch somebody athletically do something that focuses on their butt or something like that, or legs or whatever.
Yeah.
When if we didn't have that message already pre-programmed into us, we would just think that's like an extraordinary athletic artistic display, and we wouldn't be thinking about the lust aspect at all. So like that's actually been pre-fed to us by our U.S. Christian culture, and doesn't inherently have to be like it. Shaking your booty twerking could be an inherently artistic thing without any sort of sexualization at all. The sexualization actually comes from the Christian culture, in my opinion.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. It's honestly a little bit more coming from, and okay, so let me backtrack a little bit.
Oh, this may
Don't go too far. We got to do another card.
Let me backtrack a little bit. So part of this is actually ritualistic and comes from a procreative aspect. And a lot of it actually does come from a hedonistic pagan side. It's meant towards good things. It's actually not meant towards bad things. It's meant towards, if we go back a couple thousand years, we need our tribe to be bigger than what it is, because if it's not bigger than what it is, our tribe is going to get wiped out by our neighboring tribes. So we have to exemplify things in order to get people to breed, to create a bigger society in our tribe, or else we don't propagate and we cannot maintain what we are doing. Okay. It's actually very biological. So there's that aspect of it. The trouble is that we have become so objectified in this that we have Pornhub.
We are very objectified here in the West, but
Yeah. So it comes from on an evolutionary scale, it comes from a place of trying to keep your tribe large enough to not get wiped out. But it's gotten to a point where it's out of control, and it's not healthy. It is definitely not healthy.
Let me segue back to the original Bishop Barron critique. I do think the French opening, the Olympics opening, was intentionally provocative, and for people, intelligent people who are world renowned, to not think that it would be, nobody's buying it.
Yeah.
And we apologize to the, stop it. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
At least own up to it.
Own it.
Yeah.
Own it. Say, I would almost respect that more if I really don't care about what conservative Christians think, and put it out there.
Yeah.
At least I know where you stand. You know where I stand. And then we can somehow move forward. But when you lie about it, oh man, we're so sorry to offend you. If that kind of looked like the Last Supper, we didn't. Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did.
100%.
That's fair.
100.
You absolutely did. Yeah. But to bring you brought up another question, Keith, about who would be the one person in the Last Supper.
We have to finish that. Yeah, before we move on.
I've heard, and then you can go ahead and comment on it, but I've heard from atheists before that John the Beloved, who was on Jesus's breast.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
From Dan Brown.
Is that Dan Brown?
That's Dan Brown.
Okay, yeah. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, where's that coming from?
It's Dan Brown.
That they had a homosexual relationship? I'm like,
Yeah.
where in the world?
Wait, because you're a
that?
drag queen doesn't mean you're homosexual.
If you've read what was it? It was the Dan Brown, the
Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code. Yeah, so and that's where the painting comes from, is Leonardo da Vinci, right? So it's the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, and then all these things come out, and some of it is so bogus. I'm using very light terms for audience, but some of it is so bogus because they're like, well, because of this shape and this shape and this shape. Dan Brown is so full of himself and he has so much insinuation, it's ridiculous. And for all of you people that lost your faith because you're listening to him, you need to bring
that strong to begin with.
You need to bring your IQ up a few notches.
But it was also because of wording, though. He was arguing that it was because the person was called John the Beloved out of every other person. Why was he beloved? Right? And I'm like, wow.
Faithfulness. Read through the text.
So my pick, and it might be overlapping because Google just told me maybe these all were brothers, but I forget how many sons of Zebedee were there. Was it 2? Okay, so John the Evangelist wasn't one of the sons of Zebedee, but it was John and James, right? Okay, my pick for the most likely to be a secret drag queen were the sons of Zebedee because of the whole scene with like the mom like going and being like, Jesus, put these guys at like the right hand and the left hand in the kingdom of heaven. And like to do that, like you gotta strut. Like if you're actually gonna pull it off and get the Son of God to be like, oh yeah, you'll be my right hand, left hand.
They were
on the stage.
Dude, they couldn't afford the makeup.
There was a secret stash somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
You ever been on a Fisher boat before? They can't afford that.
What about the pale white horse, so-called? Did you guys see that during the Olympics?
No.
There's a white horse, a so-called pale white horse that trotted across, that led the boats with all the athletes on it on the Siene River. Is that what it is? Siene?
No, I actually haven't watched that much of it yet.
Yeah, there was a pale white horse.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Was there 3 other horses?
No, this time it was just the quote unquote pale. It was mechanical.
Doesn't count then. You have to have 4 horses. Yeah. There's 4 horses in the apocalypse.
All right. I think we got to get another card here.
All right, Gumby.
You're up. You're up. Unless we want to go reverse. We could go reverse.
No, it's you.
Oh, okay. All right. What were the hold on. Not my job.
All right. Not my job. What did I have? Okay, we're now getting into the assassination attempt.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Wait, what? That happened? That happened? Wait, what?
Yeah.
So
they tried to assassinate JFK. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
So yeah, of course there was a whole aftermath of how did the Secret Service let this get by, and it resulted in the resignation of the director of the Secret Service one day after she was adamant that she was not going to resign, which seems to happen to everybody when they say they're not going to resign. They end up resigning shortly after.
It is true.
Hey, that's your Democratic base. I'm just saying.
But
Yeah, Keith, what up with
one
that?
of the excuses or claims was that it was not the job of the Secret Service to secure that rooftop, that they had actually outsourced that to local law enforcement.
Wait, doesn't that go against their own policy?
So my question to you is, suppose you are the Secret Service agent who was tasked with ensuring that the rooftop that the would-be assassin was on top of with his gun was secured. So you were working with the police to secure this thing. What is your excuse that you give that saves your job?
That's a great question. Now I get the card. I'm like,
I'll say.
I love it.
So my excuse is I wasn't on the rooftop. Hey, this is what happens when you farm it out to locals.
I was gonna be like, I was eating a Trump steak, like anything to suck up to Trump. And then they'd be like,
that's good. That's good.
they'd be like,
That's
oh
good.
yeah, I was okay. Oh yeah, I was golfing on Trump Westminster golf course.
I was wearing the golden Trump shoes and I slipped.
Ooh,
That is actually a good excuse for that. It's not my job. I voted for Biden because all of Trump's supporters that were down there by the building actually saw him up there.
There you go.
And the police around there did nothing. Oh, well, what shooter on the roof? We can't see him.
There is definitely an air of irony.
There's way too many rabbit holes to even go down with that one, but
It's ridiculous.
yeah.
so I think you might have a resource about gun control and calls for gun control post assassination attempts.
I may or may not have something I brought up. It's only a 29-second clip, so we're going to touch on it right now.
All right.
And this is from one of my main news sources, which is The Guardian. Here we go. I'm about to share it with the group. All right, here we go.
The message that I have is we have a great country, and we are there for you, and they're there for us. They're there for us. Gun violence problem. We're not going to talk about that. We won't talk about that. Not yet. We're looking. I can tell you, it's a very sick man. He was a very demented person. We haven't seen that yet, but you will know very soon if we find something. We're looking very, very hard.
Oh my gosh. Like, we're not going to talk about that. The dude's been shot at an inch with like a millimeter or two within his life being taken by a random dude who should not have a gun based on his mental state. And we're not going to talk about
They literally don't go near the fact that our lack of gun control might have contributed to this. And here's the thing. Again, I own guns. I have no problem with guns. I go out to the range, I practice, I like my guns. Here's the difference. I practice, I hold a CCW, I have training, I know how to store it, I know how to load it. Our country has a lack of education when it comes to how to know, own, handle, and store guns. I hands down agree with that fact. And if we have nothing else that we take away from these things, like, maybe presidents and former presidents getting assassinated and almost assassinated, maybe increase the education of our system so these things aren't happening and we have people getting educated on how to handle and store guns. Maybe if we take nothing else away from these things, that should be a thing.
So let me ask a quick question because I didn't get to see the video, but do you guys think with Trump, with Reagan,
the Pope,
Andrew Jackson, Abraham Lincoln,
McKinley,
both JFK or both Kennedys, right? JFK and Robert F. Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy, by the way, his shooter was supposedly Palestinian, but never mind. And Martin Luther King and Malcolm X had to do with gun control. I just want to see the show of hands.
Were they all shot?
Yeah.
I guess they were all shot.
They were all
I was
shot.
trying to think about go back to like
They weren't. They weren't all killed.
Right. Yeah, like everything was a gun. I'm not sure if what our conception of gun control was in like the 19th century, for instance, because I don't think even that was very strong in
I guess
like
I'm
Europe.
just getting behind motive for
Right.
whatever the reason or the person who so-called did it. This is, of course, accepting that we accept whatever the official narrative may be of what happened. But do you think that the motive all had to do with gun control? And
that was definitely not gun control. I think that those, maybe not all of them, but at least the majority of them would have still happened either way.
My base assertion would be that the more guns we have and the easier it is to obtain them, the more people who could do bad things with guns can easily get a gun.
So I'm going to put a caveat on that. I believe the gun should be easily accessible to the entire population of the United States if you go through a course of education and you are verified to not have a shady background.
yeah, and mental health evaluations. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But that would necessarily probably decrease the total level of gun ownership because some people would not go through the work.
I totally agree. Yes.
But it would increase the security of the guns. You would I do agree you would probably see a net effect of that. I'm thinking of so this is the first time I've sent my kid to public school. And I'm working on like actually like taking the bus with him in the morning so he gets used to going on the bus. And I stop there and I watch him go through the metal detector. Every day he's got to go through a freaking metal detector.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a thing because it's so easy to get a gun that anybody can get one. Anybody could bring one to school. Anybody could walk into a school with a gun. And so you have to have all these extra levels of security. What's interesting me thinking about that clip, and that clip was, where someone asked about the issue of access to guns or gun control, and in the response to talking to the president about it, the former president, the assassination attempt on his life, and he said, we're not going to talk about that. And there seems to be, in terms of the gun access absolutists who are like, there should be no impediment to gun access. There seems to be no nothing that could change their mind, like no risk to their children or their own lives that would cause them to rethink that. It's okay. Any of the inconvenience that anyone goes through, let alone the actual loss of life, is okay as long as we have Second Amendment absolutist rights. That's bonkers. Like, don't people want to live? Don't people want their children not to have to get frisked every morning? Don't they want their children not to have to like hide under desks in active shooter drills?
Very interesting. Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe they don't. Maybe they like that. Or maybe they're like, oh, that's a public school thing. Our kids go to private school. I don't know.
Well, my kids, no. I mean, my kids.
I'm not talking about you particular, but I'm talking in general, like a certain group of people who are probably the most instrumental behind these laws or lack thereof.
There was a gun incident at my kid's school, and we go to a private school. And a kid brought supposedly it was kind of an interrelated gun issue. He brought ammunition and supposedly was going to somehow access his father's gun, and he brought it in his book bag. But that, that just spurred a whole thing, and school went on lockdown.
Yeah,
this and that, and I think the school's response was appropriate. So I don't think it's just that, but I'm going to challenge conservatives here and say that if you think Trump is really going to do something to push back against the NRA, and those people in the conservative base support the NRA, mostly evangelical probably, it's wishful thinking.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he showed it right there. I mean, even when we think about, we recently had a Supreme Court decision that overruled the Trump administration era rule prohibiting bump stocks. And do you think conservatives are going to be up in arms that, oh, you overruled the thing that our president said to do? No.
Just, I mean,
Whoops.
yeah. I mean, going back to the assassination, though, I mean, again, if we're just accepting the official narrative that it was just this dude, it's always a lone gunman, right?
Always.
Every assassination that's happened, it's always a crazy lone gunman.
Every time.
And this guy, what was his name? Crooks?
Crooks, yep.
20-year-old kid, right? Parents were psychiatrists.
Yeah.
This is all public data. The roof he was on, it wasn't some empty building.
And it was exactly the same footage that was from JFK.
But do you know the roof he was on?
Oh, yeah. It was perfectly positioned above. Right in line with.
Do you know who were in the building?
Oh, no.
On the roof he was on?
No.
It was police and every people who affiliated with the police. It was their staging ground.
Okay.
There was police underneath him.
Oh, dang. Wow.
So, and there was also a ladder. So if I just keep going and going and going and going, I mean, like, don't even talk to me about gun control.
Yeah.
The more and more I keep peeling back, I'm like, all right, so there was police under him. There was a ladder. There were Trump supporters pointing him out, like, literally at least 20 minutes before a shot went off. Dumbfounded police. Oh, we don't see anything. The more and more I keep peeling that back, I'm like, was Trump's life truly in jeopardy? I don't know. Because if I was a professional sniper behind Trump who worked for the SS and I had any shot, you're trained to take him out. I just don't, I can't wrap my mind around that. Like, you'd always there, you see it, you have the shot, but you're going to wait till he shoots?
Yeah. It's there. I won't lie. There is an air of fishiness to it.
So I don't know. So again, that's if most people, I would say most Trump supporters are just going to accept the official narrative and that, quote unquote, whoever was trying to take him out. Yeah, I don't think so.
It is wild that he's so, like, even when a bullet doesn't hit you, being that close to a bullet, a lot of things could go wrong.
Well, go ahead.
I don't really have much other than that. This is crazy that all he got was a little bloody ear.
The official report came out by the FBI, and they are not convinced any bullet hit him. They say it may have just simply been a piece of shrapnel.
That was the initial reports.
Yes. Yeah, that came off of something, and that he was not actually hit by any bullet.
Yeah, there were two glass things here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the initial report
that
that came out.
Yeah,
and he was hit by a piece of shrapnel, and then it turned into bullets, and then all of a sudden, the man's back in the White House.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I mean, if it wasn't for that, I'm not sure how much of a chance she would have had, really. Because there were Democrats right after that. Oh, there is no room for political violence. Blah, 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 blah. This is Democrats, right? There is no room for hate and political violence in our system whatsoever, even though I'm the same person who advocated for him dying 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
don't forget that.
Yeah.
People didn't want him there. You wanted him dead. Kathy Griffin, the comedian, had a decapitated head of him.
Yeah. It's true.
That was
true.
Not a great moment. I
Not
feel
a
like
great-
most people.
Not a great moment. No.
Yeah, I feel like most people don't.
He was a danger to our democracy.
Well, yes.
Come on. And, on top of that, even J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance was a never Trumper.
He called him like Hitler or something.
He compared him to Hitler, a never Trumper compared to Hitler.
Yeah.
We got some JD Vance stuff on the board.
Oh, I'm
though,
sorry.
so-
I won't go there.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry.
So,
Anyways.
wait. So, are you saying you'd vote for him?
No, you can't even joke around about that now.
It's true.
I was going to immediately say something. I'm like, crap, I can't even.
So before we hit another card here, should we talk a little bit about this other iced tea?
So right now we are diving into the green tea, which arguably is my favorite green tea from Arizona, which is the can that I grab all the time. And it is just as pleasant, I would say arguably even more pleasant than the previous one.
Stop it.
Wow.
I love Arizona green tea. It is my favorite tea in the world. This is the hard green tea. It has a little bit of ginseng and honey to it. It's spiked, and it is just as smooth as their green tea in the can.
Maybe if I was watching a J-Lo Super Bowl with this, it would change things for me.
I mean, I know they kind of all look like it, but this can was really hitting me hard because I think I'm more used to the green tea and ginseng like non-alcoholic can in the gas station.
Yeah,
but it looks so much like it, except for the words "hard" and like the percentage of alcohol inside of it.
It's so delicious. Again, I'm gonna bring up the fact I'm a huge fan of Arizona iced tea. And this is just it every bit Arizona iced tea. And the fact that it's spiked. And here's how smooth it is. I don't taste any alcohol whatsoever. It's just smooth Arizona iced tea.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree. I'm like, wow, it's not much alcohol in this at all, but it's the same.
It's 5%. I don't even taste it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's we're completely wasted and we don't know the difference.
It's so good. So
very
good.
possible.
Speaking of being completely wasted, Gumby, it's your turn to pick a card here.
Crap. All right.
Gumby is pondering at the moment. He's looking at the subjects and the questions in hand.
Not knowing what they mean. Oh, the one down here. C:/users/hunters laptop/desktop/resignation letter.
That is way too long.
That sounds above my pay grade.
The very bottom one.
This is
second one from the bottom.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is kind of fun.
What is this one?
Spending the last minute of your 15 minutes of fame in Cleveland.
There you go. Go ahead.
All right. So this is about, I actually can't access this whole article. I picked this one at the very last minute. But has anybody heard of the Hawk Tua girl?
Oh my Lord. You are not bringing this up on a Bible Over Brews podcast.
We won't spend long here, I promise.
Oh my Lord.
Apparently she's spending.
Children, close your ears.
We don't have to, well, we don't actually have to talk about what the Hawk Tua girl is about.
Please don't.
Oh my gosh, I'm so out of it.
Yo,
What?
There's an article today that says she's coming to Cleveland.
Gumby, we will talk about what she is in the after hours, because the only place we can talk about this in the after hours.
Okay, should I save this for after hours?
We're not going to actually talk about the thing.
Please don't.
I don't even know what the thing is. Now I want to know the thing.
This makes it even better because the question
After hours.
The question I'm gonna ask you is actually presumes you know the thing. And it's even be more funny knowing that you don't know the thing. So
right, go ahead, I'm ready.
Number one, I brought this up just because I randomly Google. I was just looking at Google News like 10 minutes before the podcast, and it said the Hawk Tua girl is coming to Cleveland this weekend. And I can't read the whole article because it's behind the Cleveland.com paywall. But Haley Welch will be making a personal appearance at Welcome to the Farm on Saturday, August 1st, hosting a party at the Country Music Bar on the east bank of the Flats. So I presume she just gets up there and she just screams, Hawk Tua, or whatever she does. And that's it. But so my question for you is, was this going to be so late?
Keith, you have to spit right after.
Oh, God. Oh, God. All right. This is going to be so ridiculous asking Gumby. We might have to help him. My question was, or my prompt was, describe Hawk Tua to your grandma without making her blush.
I love the question. I just don't know what it means.
Here's how you do this. Ready? Very easily. When this will not wake the kids up at night. I really made my boyfriend happy. Okay, moving on.
Hawk Tua.
I think Gumby just got it.
I would never have picked that card.
Kids, don't Google this. Do not Google this. Be the good Christian.
Oh my God!
All right. So, what is your question about the grandma now?
Listen to Keith.
So,
move on.
The question was describe, and really prompt. Describe Hawk Tua to your grandma without making her blush.
Oh my!
Just don't do it. Move on. Tell her it comes from a foreign language, and you don't know how to translate it.
It's
Move
about
on.
passion. It's about caring for others.
You are so full of it. Move on.
All right.
I just couldn't. I mean, I'm thinking of both the grandmas on both sides. I'm like, oh my God, I would be completely excommunicated from my family.
Yes. Yes, you would. Yes, you would.
So the one very quick political thing I wanted to bring up that was related to this, and this was pre. So all right.
This relates to
Oh, we're
Trump.
going back to the Clintons. Okay, go ahead.
So this was
It's a
pre.
cigar.
You're pretty close.
This was pre Kamala Harris, post assassination. It was in the middle of, well, maybe it was actually pre assassination attempt. Like right around the RNC convention, is there actually was like, this is the point where like Democrats are in their deepest fretting. And there was actually like this very long think piece on slate.com that was describing how deep of a problem it is for Democrats that Republicans had claimed the Hawk Tuah girl.
Wow.
There's so much irony. There's just so much irony.
Really?
It's yes.
I mean,
Yeah, Republicans wholeheartedly grabbed on to the Hawk Tuah girl. And you know why? Because it's all about a man and a woman. Yes.
Oh, he
Yes.
struck a nerve with there.
And that's why she's appearing in like fairs, county fairs, and she's appearing at gun shows.
Oh my God.
And she's being fully embraced by the Republican, quote unquote, conservative side.
yeah. Well, here's my challenge to any major evangelical church.
Oh my God.
Any mega major evangelical church, bring her to your church and let her speak to your congregation, because that will completely represent the hypocrisy and irony of everything you stand for right now.
I guarantee you, like Mark Driscoll would do that.
100%.
I just don't. I already couldn't wrap my mind around a lot of the conservative evangelicals and their whole.
Well, here's the irony of this. Buddhists, Islamics, and Hindus are all asking what the hell we think a conservative is.
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad. It's funny, but it's sad. Wow. I didn't even know what I was getting into when I picked that card.
Yep.
Well, speaking of you picking cards, because I'm up next, you get to pick my card.
Okay.
Oh, Gumbi. Pick a good one.
I can pass it off.
Oh, no, get him.
I got one to
Good
pass
one.
off.
Well, no, the pass off is if you get a question you don't like.
Oh, okay.
So
Slam
I can
him.
pass it off if I
Good
want
one.
to.
Slam him. Come on. Slam him.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Oh, this is my
Yes.
favorite question. Oh, sectional relations. The alternate title for
Oh,
this
no.
was The Thrill of the Chase.
Oh boy.
My one regret is that
Does this relate to JD Vance?
yes.
Oh my lord. Okay, so for all of you conservatives,
I'm listening. Go ahead.
for all of you conservatives and furniture outlet owners, turn away for the next 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
Listen, I found some good things at Big Lots. Okay.
My one
Just hope that JD Vance wasn't there.
So this is a great I'm trying to this definitely is like an internet thing, and it's happened before, but I don't know what to call it. So of course, like JD Vance, the whole reason, like the whole thing that started the chain of things that led him to the place as the VP nominee for the Republican Party starts with Hillbilly Elegy, the book he wrote that became a movie with Amy Adams or whatever. It's also like one of those books that like it almost is like chicken soup for the Appalachian soul or something that like got combined with like conservative talking points, I guess. As far as I know.
Keith, you have to spell it out for me. I watch Marvel in DC.
Exactly. Well, the thing is I can't because, and I don't think anybody can, because like, it's one of those books that was popular that like maybe you should have read to be like well informed about our current political moment, but like I don't know if anybody actually really read it. but they would like compliment it, you know. So it would get complimented by center right things being like, oh, this is a great memoir of his growing up in and for the name Hillbilly Elegy and for talking about like his family's origins in Appalachia. He grew up in suburban Cincinnati. So it's about it's fundamentally it's a book about growing up in suburban Cincinnati. So
that's a rough upbringing.
The internet meme playing off of the idea that none of us really read Hillbilly Elegy.
That's Deep South. Let's just say he's not Northeast Ohio. He's Deep South.
Representing.
So playing off this idea that none of us really read it, it started with this this someone posting that how about that time that JD Vance had sex with the couch in recorded in Hillbilly Elegy pages 179 to 181
explicitly.
Oh, sorry.
It's called It Didn't Have Relations
with the couch. Sectional relations.
Oh my god, this is worse than Haktua.
This
possibly.
This of course birthed, and I'm regretting that I can't I favorited in a row. I favorited a bunch of my favorite JD Vance couch jokes,
which now all show up in his browser history.
They're gone. They're not in my favorites anymore. So screw you, Elon Musk. So I'm having trouble recalling them, but there was a lot of great jokes. You know, you can make a joke about a love seat. Of course, I did not have sectional relations with that couch.
My Lord. This is going across all the previous cabinets.
Wait a minute. So what's the story behind that story?
The story is someone just made it up and pretended it was an actual thing that was recorded in Hillbilly Elegy. That because it's about JD Vance growing up.
So because
they said that it was basically let's pretend that JD Vance wrote about humping his couch inside of Hillbilly Elegy.
And because nobody read it, no one knows the difference.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So
that's rich.
It's the internet at its best. I encourage you to look for JD Vance couch jokes.
Children, I apologize.
We can move on from that.
Okay. Next
is you.
Oh shoot. What do we have? Let me see. Hold on. Let's see. Ooh. I'm taking blue because I'm a huge fan of the one song that I know from
Eiffel 65.
From Eiffel 65, yeah.
Mom blue da ba dee da ba da.
The one song I know.
I'm
taking it.
So deep cut from that album. That was Eiffel 65. Europop was the name of the album. That was what in 1998, 99.
And
I don't
the
remember.
one song on it was great.
But I bought the album, and there were other songs that were good too.
Get out of here.
The second song on the album was just them obsessing about PlayStation games. They literally sang a bunch of names of PlayStation games and how much they love them.
I'm actually okay with this. I'm actually really okay with this. As somebody who owned the last, several generations of PlayStation consoles, I'm totally okay with this.
So, Blue Dabba Dee Dabba Da, of course, is referring to blue screens of death, which we saw many of.
So they're Windows lovers. Hello.
In the midst of the CrowdStrike event, where the CrowdStrike is IT security software used by large enterprises. It's akin to antivirus software, but it's also like threat detection, like trying to detect emergent hacks. And I think there's probably like a crowdsourcing of the information aspect to that too, where like if they detect hacks happening at a particular client's level, they can actually use that information in the rest of the system to prevent from everybody else from getting hacked. So big companies who have like a big IT attack surface install CrowdStrike on their servers, their desktop computers, all those things. So what happened on what was this Friday? Was this Friday the 22nd of July?
You're right about that,
yeah, Friday morning. All these computers in airlines, all over industry, civil services, like emergency services, those kind of things, critical stuff, start blue screening, and you can't get them out of the blue screen. Rebooting doesn't help. And so what actually happened is this CrowdStrike software, the reason why it's so effective is because it actually burrows itself deep inside the kernel of the Windows operating system. So at the lowest level, pretty much.
Sort of. You were able to delete it out of the cache inside of the internal it wasn't that hard, but unfortunately, most people are not very techy.
Well, you could. So basically, this update though, like they pushed an update that actually crashed all the computers,
Yeah.
and you could not restore the computer. So you could restore the computer if you booted in the safe mode, deleted this file. So that meant that all these millions of computers that were affected by this thing that were in critical infrastructure, they had to be manually touched. Somebody had to go to it.
Yes, 100%.
And actually fix it. And sometimes you could
Holy
get lucky.
crap.
You could.
Oh yeah.
They recommended actually rebooting it up to 15 times to see if maybe it could get the update to fix itself before it would crash again.
Yeah.
Wow.
The
When you explain it like that, if that's not just a complete accident, it sounds like cyber warfare to me.
And the trouble is it wasn't just like people like, oh yeah, it downed the airports. It was way.
No, my wife was the banking.
Yeah,
was affected.
It was
yeah.
way more than just airports. I think it took like what, a third of all McDonald's or something like that. It was
I
like,
believe it.
yeah, it was. No, I know one or two IT guys downtown. That they're the ones that told me about how many people it was actually affecting. Ton of the McDonald's, all the other fast food restaurants, airports, banks. It was ridiculous.
It's crazy. What about hospitals? Were they?
I'm sure.
Probably. I imagine like if because you're the entity or business or whatever, they either subscribe to this thing or not. So basically it was whoever used it. So like certain airlines may have used it more than other airlines. If this was your vendor for this kind of threat protection, you were screwed.
So like instead of Norton or something like that, instead of that kind of thing. Wow.
And CloudStrike goes deeper than some other antivirus and stuff. It goes, down to the kernel level.
Right. Yeah. So it's at a point where there's not if something goes wrong there's not a lot of protection from the broader. Like Windows has a lot of protection in it now to prevent things from crashing the whole system. Like we used to see blue screens of death a lot when we were back in Windows 95, and one process could run amok, take over the memory of the entire operating system or other processes and just crash everything. That doesn't happen. That hasn't really been the way Windows has been architected since Windows XP.
I mean, part of that actually in the
Miss XP.
in the newest parts of Windows might be because they're actually installing part of a Linux kernel inside of there, which does give it a little more stability.
Well, so are you talking about like WSL or something else?
No, in Windows 11. So Windows 11 actually does have a source Linux inside of it for the kernel. It's a Debian kernel for Linux.
So wait a minute.
You're talking about the WSL is like a virtual machine. It would be fully isolated from this.
No, yeah, it's down closer to the root level.
There is like a virtual machine level that is closer. That could crash it, but the actual Linux would be like a little. It would kind of be. I think it'd be fairly isolated because I've used WSL before. But yeah, like this stuff is like it's probably even deeper than that. I would say.
Probably.
Did CrowdStrike only affect Windows?
Yes,
for the most part. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's well, the world runs on Windows.
Yeah, no doubt. That's why I'm like kind of blown away by
that's
it.
Why so I had a developer. I was sitting down and having dinner with a developer. Okay. And he's an old friend of mine. I've known him for like 20 plus years. And we're sitting, it was my wife, him, myself, his wife, and she walked over to go use the washroom. And I was like, come on, how easy is it to write a code right now for Apple to crash the whole thing? And he's like, I'm only going to tell you this because my wife's not here and she loves Apple. He's like, it's just as easy, if not easier than Windows. Here's the trouble. The world doesn't run on Apple. He's like, so no one cares about writing these viruses for Apple because you're not going to crash anything in Apple. You will if you go into Windows. That's why these viruses hit. No one cares about infecting anything else because the world doesn't run on them. You have to infect what the world runs on.
I absolutely believe this because it is all about attack surface. So people go after the biggest target. Also, like there's books going back to like the original architecting of what would become Windows today. Like originally it was called like Windows NT.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of that book, but there's actually a book that like is like it was like documentary people embedded alongside the people actually writing the software. And I will tell you, like, I think at the particular level where CrowdStrike and a lot of like these other like low level things are implemented, Windows is probably the best architected system. And it's been that way, like that the roots of that go back to the very early 90s. But it's all about attack surface.
Yes.
And actually it's not even just attack surface or you know the likelihood that you could pull something off based on how many people are using it, but the regulatory bodies, because of the dominant position Windows has in the marketplace, have said that they have to allow software like CrowdStrike to have deep access. So Apple has actually been able to cut off the low-level kernel level access that CrowdStrike has on Windows for Apple. Apple just says you can't do this, and regulatory bodies like the EU doesn't care because the Apple, you know, Mac OS doesn't have the dominant market position. It's like 3%, 5%, whatever. But the EU has actually said at various points that Windows has to provide this access.
Okay.
So that actually prevents like Microsoft from just saying, you know, we're not going to let software do this anymore. And then it becomes at that point, it's incumbent on companies like CrowdStrike to actually have good processes that prevent this from happening. We're kind of all at the whims of them. Like, for instance, like, okay, it's bad enough that the software came through like untested or whatever, or like they're claiming that like some system that was supposed to test it actually said it was okay and it wasn't, I think is what they said.
Right.
But even beside that, the fact that a company of this scale that touched this many machines didn't have like phased rollouts, like they didn't roll out to a small audience, make sure it works, and then rolled out to a bigger audience. So at least they would only crash some of the computers or maybe one airline as opposed to all of them. Like that's insane that went like undetected, that nobody thought of that or nobody did it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, are you guys under the impression that it was just an accident?
No, nothing in that is an accident. There's no way. Someone exploited that.
I just don't know enough about it to really try to render a judgment, but
I'm still like, I feel like I wish some of these things were actually like conspiracy things because it would be more interesting, but like it probably was someone doing something stupid, in my opinion, just being in that industry and knowing what kind of stupid things can happen.
Could be. Well, hold on. Let me throw in one link real quick because we do have a little bit of coverage.
And then I have to finally ask you the question because I've never asked you the question yet.
And then we're going to ask the question that he wants to ask so bad. All right, here we go. Here's the link we're going to play real quick as we share it with the crowd. And here we go. You're looking at an airport that's down because of CrowdStrike. Blue screens of death on every single screen, all throughout the airport. Everything is in recovery mode. Throughout the entire airport in Dubai. All right.
There's a crazy infographic too showing it's like one of those like flight monitors across the US, and it shows all the flights disappearing from the US because they got approval from the FAA to actually ground a bunch of flights because of this.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Now, what is funny too, because so I mentioned like earlier, I was talking about like going through the airport because I was in the airport basically on the day this happened, and you know all the blue screens I saw, which I will post on Discord by the way. What's funny, like for as dramatic as that looks, those aren't the important blue screens. So every screen you see
recovery
in the airport is like a kiosk. It's just something like a basic computer that boots up, reads some information for like a flight schedule, and outputs it to the screen. Like it's not the thing that makes the schedule. It's not the thing that makes sure the planes get to the right place or the pilots get to the right place.
Yeah.
So it looks dramatic, but those are the computers that are probably the last to be recovered because like somebody has to go and touch them because they're a kiosk. And they're the ones that are just displaying information. The computers that really screwed everything up would be like actual like Windows servers that are actually doing the things, behind the scenes, that are actually managing the data that makes sure your planes show up in the right place at the right time.
I was going to say, so it wasn't the screens that, you're going up to get a ticket.
Right. Yeah.
Looking at.
Like you would see the evidence of it, but that wasn't the screen that was causing your plane to be delayed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So my question for you, and it's actually you're the perfect person to answer this question because of what your exposure in media is and how it does not relate to Haktua.
Oh, oh my Lord.
Which villain from any universe you would choose, which villain was behind CrowdStrike?
Ooh,
Lex
that.
Luthor. Lex Luthor.
All right.
Because he could do it in 10 seconds with a drop of a hat.
He didn't even hesitate, Keith. Just waited for you to ask.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Lex Luthor he's the subtle villain, you see. He doesn't need a big buildup like Dr. Doom does, right? Dr. Doom has a big buildup. He has to know he's doing it, right? Lex Luthor's like, he just types a couple keys and then he lets you follow the breadcrumbs.
So is CrowdStrike the whole mini crisis over then?
They reported earlier this week
we'll
that
see.
97% of the computers that were affected by it have been fixed.
Okay.
According to their metrics. So I think we're mostly past it. I think there should still hopefully be an actual reckoning about like, how do we prevent this from happening again? Because like any accident can just bring so much critical infrastructure to a halt.
Sure.
Right.
Depending on one company's sloppy policies.
Achilles heel, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It did make me think, though, and this is my own conspiratorial mind. I'm like, oh, God, what in the world's going on right now in the rest of the world?
Whenever you see a large distraction,
I'll leave it there.
watch the rest of the news.
I'll leave it there.
All right. We got to get to another card here. Some of these should go pretty quick because we've already covered the major topics embedded.
These should go quicker.
But Gumbi, you are up next.
Gumby's going back and forth. He's debating.
All right, go for it. All right. The name of Doug Emhoff's wife. I love this one.
Wait,
Kamala?
The question is, pronounce the first name of the presumptive Democratic nominee.
Kamala?
Yeah, everybody lodged their guess. So yours is Kamala?
Yeah.
All right. What's yours?
Okay. I really did sincerely think it was a trick question.
It is kind of, but whatever your answer is your answer, right?
I mean, I just go with Kamala.
So apparently, I hope I read this right. So this is actually like a thing in like the Trump campaign and all that, is to actually like Trump is intentionally mispronouncing Kamala. And that actually is apparently the right pronunciation. Is it supposed to be like comma, like, like a comma in a sentence, comma, la.
Kamala.
But Trump will go Kamala. So
such a dweeb.
Right.
So it kind of gets in this whole like, and there's actually another card that we might touch on this point better, is like,
could he be more boomer?
There is this huge struggle. Like we don't know if the election's really changed. Like my assessment is post the, Biden, dropping out and Kamala, being the presumptive nominee, is that it's gone from like, it was almost guaranteed that Trump was going to win to it's more like that almost toss up where it's going to just come down to those like three critical states, like a Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, etc.
Am I the only one that says manufacture antagonism?
No, I say
because doggone it,
I call it manufactured consent.
And here's the thing: it's like it's almost like they're manufacturing the fact. Oh, these sides are so equally, antagonistic, and these sides are so equally opposed to each other. No, you both equally don't want any third parties in. That's what it is. It comes down to I am backed by a certain number of conglomerates. Oh, no, I am backed by a certain number of conglomerates. Let's manufacture this antagonism to make sure that all third-party candidates don't look like they belong.
Yeah.
Just saying.
There are things that I think like about Kamala. Did I say it right?
Kamala.
Kamala. Good Lord. Kamala. All right.
Kamala.
Doggone it, can we get this right?
Dang it.
We've had too many iced teas.
Kamala. Anyways, but I fully admit that I'm too jaded by politics, but I don't think even if she does okay, I still don't think she has what it takes to, in this current system that we have, to beat Trump. Unfortunately, we got too much of a strong conservative evangelical base.
All you got to do is sit down, look across the country, and then look at the gerrymandering areas and zones, and you'll know who's going to be president. Go ahead, Keith.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say that the thrust behind this particular card was that the Republicans, I still feel like what you just described as the current climate is kind of the case, where there is a lot of MAGA momentum. But at the same time, it's remarkable how hard the Republican candidates are struggling to attack Kamala. It'll be like, I'm going to mispronounce her name. Or there was one Republican politician today who went on the TV and called her a ding dong or something like that. And that was the best you can do.
Yeah, I would fully admit though, because there probably isn't a lot there to really attack, because she's kind of been invisible up until this point. From my perspective, it's like, wait a minute, now she's going to run because Biden dropped out. She has to.
That's fair. And maybe that was by design, I guess. I don't know.
I've been joking for 3.5 years that she wears her camouflage really well. Again, I was the first one to say that Michelle Obama as first lady was a better vice president than Kamala Harris has been. Just saying. Because Michelle Obama showed up at schools. She showed up at rallies. She showed up at fundraisers. She spoke at events. Where has Mrs. Harris been? So, just saying. Keith, what do you got?
It's fair. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot, because honestly, I'm still catching up on her as a candidate, because she has there's a number of articles that are talking about how there's been a trend with recent presidential candidates to pick someone who will be a weak VP who won't challenge. Because we have had in our history, we have had VPs who have been very strong. Dick Cheney was probably our last example of a VP who felt like they were really running the show, who had stronger, deep-seated policy positions than the actual candidate, the actual president themselves. But when you think about Biden was picked kind of as a weak vice presidential candidate, someone who's much older, who wouldn't challenge Obama. I mean, he did become president later on, but it wasn't a given. He was actually passed over in the initial pass of who would you pass the torch to? And likewise, Kamala was really in the shadows. It was someone who ran a very weak primary campaign in 2020. So, and then that's a really easy one to pick off, is this will be a very loyal person. And Pence was designed as this is a person who's not really going to ever challenge me in the room.
Right.
And incidentally, actually, interestingly, Pence has displayed at times a little bit of bravery in terms of not just accepting what Trump says.
He was my favorite part of the insurrection, honestly. He actually showed some real cojones during that.
Yeah, he actually acquitted himself reasonably well.
I have to give Pence full credit for the way that he handled the insurrection. I think that he handled it like a man. So, what's our next?
All right. So, is it? I think it's me. So, your turn to pick mine.
All right. I'm gonna go with the odd one.
Oh, the C users. Okay, this would be a quick one, because we've already talked about Biden stepping down, and this is C users, Hunter's laptop, desktop, resignation letter. This is actually probably the worst one for me to answer. So I wanted to talk about it was just a card for President Biden's resignation. And I thought it would be funny, Biden is so old that maybe he doesn't have his own laptop. So maybe he used Hunter's laptop. So, okay. But I actually don't know much about Hunter's laptop other than it is a thing that right-wing people really like.
Still a thing?
We've had a certain guest who did something about that.
Oh, actually, no, the question's perfect.
Oh no.
So my question is, and I would
Move
invite you
on.
guys if you have an
Move
answer
on.
for this as well. My question was, so there's been this talk in the whole like lead up to Biden, withdrawing from the race and passing the torch, that Nancy Pelosi was instrumental in changing his mind, and that like the one quote that sticks out was that Nancy said something like, "We could do this the easy way or the hard way." And
I've read that.
Yes.
Like, what the hell does that mean?
Yes.
so my question is, what? And maybe we can all answer this because I'm not really sure what the answer is. What did Nancy mean was the hard way, and how did it involve Hunter Biden's laptop?
At first, I thought it was kind of creepy. I'm like, are they having an affair? He's like, definitely the hard way.
So I like my
after hours.
my gut answer is I think I used to watch 24, Jack Bauer doing all this crazy crap. I forget which season was it season 5 or season 6, but there's a scene at the end, the last episode of the season, that I just absolutely love. And I can't even remember the circumstances, but it involves him holding, I think it's the president or the vice president, somebody in high power, hostage, and making them change their mind on something critical. And so like, for some reason, maybe it's just all the hard iced teas, but I just envision Nancy Pelosi going all Jack Bauer, and being like, "You're gonna do this thing," in like some like dark room, and like Biden's all tied up or something. Sorry, this is getting bad, but I don't know how to weave Hunter Biden's laptop into that, except maybe like, "I'm gonna bash you in with Hunter Biden's laptop." She's holding a laptop in the air, and like he's like, "Oh my God, don't hit me with the laptop! Don't slag me with that hard drive." I don't know.
I do wonder if Jack Bauer wears Eddie Bauer, but
I haven't watched 24 in forever. I should go doing that again. That's a fun show.
all right. Next subject.
All right. So we got you, Aaron. I think
Oh.
you're up next.
I'm gonna grab the
Oh, this might be the only one that has like a modicum of substance left. So this is
no.
women
and
their cats.
I would have to grab this one. Women and their cats. All right. What do you got for me, Keith?
So this, of course, is referring to JD Vance has been probably one of the worst VP candidate rollouts in recent history. He has a -6 approval rating, which actually surprised even me. I didn't think so. Last episode, you could find me in there quoting that I think there's at least 25 senators that are worse than JD Vance. So,
Okay.
but yet people really hate him. And there was even rumors that Trump was thinking of dropping him because of how bad the rollout was. And at the center of this rollout, of course, there was the whole couch thing. But more importantly, there was the unearthing of a comment from his 2022 senatorial campaign. I think it was actually back in 2021 when he made the quote. But he was talking about how Kamala Harris is an angry, childless cat lady. So, of course, this is offending women. It's also insinuating that you're not like a real parent if you have adoptive children. Of course, she has 2 adoptive children.
Ouch.
God,
that's such a scumbag.
Yeah. So we've been constantly going through like a lot of the JD Vance media has been talking about like how he is trying to say that like we should be a society of like breeders have the most rights. And even when like pressed on this, he kind of doubled down and he said like, no, like, maybe I worded it badly, but the point still stands. So my question for you is, I don't know if I like that question. Okay. This would be the worst way to put this question. What should JD Vance do next to insult women to really seal the MAGA vote? You don't have to answer this. Or you could answer this instead.
Unless you're Gumby, then you have to answer.
What?
Yeah, I gotta answer it. I mean, I think that, since he's already flip-floppy on the whole Trump thing, I mean, he was speaking out of both sides of his mouth. I mean, he already compared Trump to Hitler. I think nothing more knowing for Trump, and I'll get to the lady thing. But I think nothing would please Trump more, knowing that this man absolutely abhorred him has to serve him now
Yeah.
would keep him as vice president pick.
Mhm.
You're going to
Yeah,
do whatever
that's
I
a good
want.
point.
I got you by the balls, and they ain't
Very
very
good point.
big.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. So that's one point. But the other thing is too, double down on the bad theology of women got to be submissive.
Before you go there, I actually have an answer, and it's not male or female.
Okay.
I have an answer from Jesus on Bible context versus children or no children.
Oh, okay. Either one would work.
Because he's directly making a war against parents being useless unless they have kids.
Yeah,
right?
attacking the very thing that God created women to be, right?
Right. Matthew 19:12 states, "For there are eunuchs who have been so from birth, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Let the one who is able to receive this receive it." So, for those who know what a eunuch is, they cannot reproduce for obvious reasons. If you don't know what a eunuch is, Google it. Eunuchs cannot have children. Jesus tells you if you can accept a eunuch, you must accept a eunuch because they're placing their salvation and the salvation of others above their ability to have children. And mind you, there is arguments from various standpoints on this, which I actually want to get to on a later podcast, which I'm not going to get to right now because this is a really
Use your podcast.
Yeah, this is a really deep subject. Just to let you know, this is a really deep subject that spans centuries. So actually, it spans millennia. So we're not going to touch on this on the rest of the context of this right now. But this shows you that in Jesus's own words, he's not telling you that you have to have kids to have an impact. So, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that should, for most people who have just even slightest average IQ, that should be pretty apparent in theology. But, I think those two things definitely, Aaron, nothing would make a woman's blood boil more than attacking that and attacking, from the religious aspect of woman, you must be submissive to your husband.
Right.
Why don't you choose that, Vance, and run on those things?
And you might be right. He might. So what's interesting to me is they seem to keep leaning into like, we're just gonna like dig the hole deeper in terms of insulting women. And there actually has been like some polling evidence that maybe the numbers of like men who are more enthusiastic about Trump are outweighing the number of women who are turned off, especially post like Harris rollout. So like it's a very weird strategy. It kind of is reminiscent of like what the strategy was pre-Harris. So it sounded like having JD Vance as the nominee was actually a strategy to like run up the numbers. Basically, like if you're gonna win already, go all in on your MAGA base because JD Vance is someone who can speak deeply to that base. He's kind of like the wonkish version of the ultra conservative. Like he can embody the ultra conservatism, but he can like do it from someone who like at least looks like they're smart because they wrote a book or something.
Yeah.
And he's got like, he's also got like the technocrat aspect because he's been funded by Silicon Valley, like Peter Thiel.
Oh, that goes deep.
Yeah. A whole other can of worms over there. But like it's really it's kind of weird instead of to see them kind of like walking back, like maybe we shouldn't be mean to a key constituency that is like 51% of the electorate or something like that, to like, no, we're gonna lean into like women should stay in their place, that whole idea or something.
Yeah. No, he's pretty god awful. I mean, I don't know how most people just don't listen to him speak and see like a used car salesman. He's just really that slimy. Comes off that slimy to me. And I didn't really know much about him. So I dug a little and I found out about, Peter Thiel and BlackRock and all of that. And
Yeah.
Oh, God, you're a piece of
All right, let's get these last two cards off the board here.
Let's go.
All right,
Let's
Gumby's got a pick. All right. This will go quick because I didn't do my research on this. In the year 2025, man is still alive. So there's been this whole another JD Vance controversy, and really Republican Party controversy in general has been this whole Project 2025. Has anybody heard of this?
I have.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
So my question for you, Gumby, is what is in Project 2025? Wrong answers only.
ooh.
Do you know more about it than I do? Because I've only heard about it.
So, peace and conciliar agreement.
Yeah. So is peace a big part of it? Just
Wrong answers only.
okay. Well, I'll go with peace. If peace looks like anything from the last presidency of Donald Trump, then it's wrong.
Yeah.
I would say it would be something about it's okay to shoot your dog. Calling back to Christine Home.
I'm going to say empowering women.
Empowering women to shoot their dogs. Oh God.
Yeah, this might. I don't want to say it might get me banned, but all right.
Yeah,
I'll save it for after
it's
dark.
Not a great statement.
Yeah,
Not a
we
great
don't have to spend much time here. I don't know how much I want to talk about 2025, but it's this whole like
It might get us banned. Let's not.
Heritage Foundation. Here's a bunch of plans for the country, and actually, it turns out, and this is probably one of the funniest things about the JD Vance rollout is so this whole like 920-page document about like what the Trump administration should do in the opinion of the Heritage Foundation. One of the guys who wrote it, he wrote a book, and JD Vance wrote the foreword. So he is like, even as Trump sends out statements, who's like, oh yeah, I wish, like Trump says something like, I wish Project 2025 luck, but I don't agree with a bunch of their stuff. Then he nominates the guy who wrote the foreword to the book basically about it. And he didn't realize that. So fun stuff.
Whoops.
They sure think a lot about us, don't they?
So this is so perfect that you save this one for me.
Last one.
Because this will be quick. So Ears is the last one. We've already beaten the Trump assassination attempt to death. And of course, Ears was about the slight grazing of his ear by shrapnel or whatever it was. But there was that brief 36-hour moment where we all had to be nice to President Trump because he was the victim of an assassination attempt, which sucks for anybody. But my challenge was, and I'm so mad that you guys left this for me, was for 15 seconds, I have to say only nice things about Trump.
Yes. Oh, I'm actually loving this.
Did you have enough beer?
Oh my God. All right.
Do you need a shot?
I might. Let me set a timer here.
This is awesome.
So I don't let this go any longer than it has to.
Awesome.
I might even say 20. I don't know how long 15 seconds is, but it's going to be, we'll see how painful this goes. All right, here we go.
Go.
President Trump, I really appreciate your enthusiasm for our country. I love how you really, you talk a lot about making America great again. It's clear you want to make America great again in many ways. And you have gold-plated toilets. You clearly love all of your wives. And I think you pay attention to your children sometimes, especially Barron, I think. And
definitely Ivanka.
Yeah, definitely Ivanka. Definitely Ivanka. You really appreciate Ivanka. So I just want to say I appreciate your enthusiasm after you got shot in the ear. That you were kind of going up there and being like, "Yeah, I got shot in the ear."
That hurts,
or something like that. Or yeah, I got through it. So you're resilient in a weird way. You've overcome a lot in your life in terms of your father was not a very nice guy, and you're still here. So best of luck to you. I went way over 30 seconds. I can't believe I did that. Oops.
You only gave him $1 million to start off. That's abusive.
Oh man.
You did it, Keith. You did it.
Man. Oh, it hurt.
You can't see it now, but Keith is throwing up profusely.
Well, you did it, Keith. Congratulations. And he made it through unscathed.
That's practically a conversion back to being an evangelical.
Oh my God.
That's all it took, man.
All right. This was a fun night.
Indeed.
Keith, last words.
Oh man. I feel like deeply resonant with like whoever said the first time, like, may you live in interesting times. I'm
like
scared
that.
about what's happening a little bit, but we definitely live in interesting times. So I'm glad that person got their wish. I guess.
Gumby?
Yeah, no, I mean, I like that. That's a great saying, great way to end it. There is nothing taboo over brew.
All right. We have a lot of cool stuff coming on our social media pages. We'll be posting a lot more in the near future. I apologize. I've been so busy in my life forming my own companies that I apologize. But we have our Discord community that we are building up so that way we don't get censored on mainstream media anymore. So please look for the links that are coming to all of our social media pages so you can get engaged with us where we don't get censored because we'll be on our own server. And look forward to it. Good fight, good night, and Godspeed.
Peace out.